has taken 42 years, but I'm finally finished!
I feel like every time I do one of these, I say it was a great year for film. But it really was. If you ask me, it's been a very long time since we've had a straight up bad year for movies, which is why I can't stand it when people say, oh, there's no good movies anymore, Hollywood is in the mud. Guys, you just gotta expand your horizon past seeing like 3 movies a year. I now realize this is a terrible transition into me talking about the worst movies of the year, but whatever, I'll bring it back around later with the best movies of the year. As always, if there's a movie you think should have been mentioned but didn't, there's a chance I didn't see it, or hey, maybe it was some ass. Anyway, without further ado, here are the top 5 worst movies of 2025. Number 5. Hurry Up Tomorrow. 2025 really was not a good year for Black Canadian pop artists. One got humiliated on a world stage by who many would say is the big one right now, and then hurt any credibility he may have had by suing for losing a rap beef. And the other made Hurry Up Tomorrow. The movie, not the album. I thought the album was pretty good, actually.
Ever since I was a G, I've been legit. Oh no.
Hurry Up Tomorrow, the movie, is an art house passion project from The Weeknd about a stalker who has a whirlwind romance with The Weeknd that lasts a smooth 7 hours before everything goes to shit. Not for nothing, I was genuinely curious about this movie before it came out, because I actually am a big fan of The Weeknd's music. I've seen him perform live, I've watched 1 episode of The Idol.
Let me catch you looking at her again. Let me catch you looking at her again. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Catch you looking at her again. I'll fucking drag you down Rodeo by your fucking ass. Just fucking stomp you. I'll fucking curb stomp. I'm sorry.
It wasn't good. But look, the point is he's good at the music stuff. The acting stuff, however, is a little shaky. Maybe I should have seen it as a sign when I got like 5 free tickets for it. Look, I'm with the concept in theory. Mix Misery with the Weeknd soundtrack, add some trippy, introspective imagery. Get some ringers like Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, who both do an amazing job, by the way, to round out the cast. However, it's less that there's bad writing and more that there's barely any writing. There's just not much of a story here. It just looks good. All vibes, no substance. I'm sure by now all of you have seen that one scene with The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega in the hotel room.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls.
That was really bad.
It kind of went viral because of how cringy it is.
Jesus Christ.
This nigga dead, y'all.
But I kinda can't believe more people aren't talking about the scene where Jenna Ortega is literally explaining to The Weeknd, and therefore the audience watching, how deep and important his music really is if you listen to it closely.
You know, your music is a lot more personal than people realize.
Huh?
Let's go with Blinding Lights. It's an undeniable hit. You know, because you hear this and it feels like you're entering a party. You know, like a safe space where you can just let loose and have a good time.
It's kind of a shame because the movie does have interesting imagery, but outside of that, I can only describe it as my most hated word to describe a movie. Boring. Like I said earlier, Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan actually are highlights in this movie, and I wouldn't mind a different version of the movie with them as the leads. Between this and The Idol, Abel might have to stick to singing those moody songs about how he's a terrible partner. That's that shit right there.
Ever since I was a G, I've been legit. Oh no.
Number 4. FNAF 2.
Come on now, dawg.
The only reason I even watched this movie was because my younger brother wanted to see it, and after it was over, I wished I was an only child. So if you remember my best worst video from a couple years ago, you'll also remember that I wasn't a big fan of the first Five Nights movie either, probably because I'm not 10 years old. But hey, I foolishly thought to myself, the first movie's story may have been lame, but who knows, maybe it gets better down the line.
It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented by a writer. Not this time.
I think I get why this franchise has such a popular and passionate fanbase though. It's basically baby's first lore, and a lot of the people who are still into it now got into it back in 2014 when they were kids or young teenagers. Which is understandable. I liked dumb stuff when I was younger too.
Dude, what the f? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old. Where's your wife? Go home to your family, dude.
For what it's worth, the animatronics do look like they came straight out of the game, and from what I hear from actual fans, the movie is indeed faithful to the game's story. So at least I now know that there was never a chance that I would be a fan of this franchise. Also, to me, it's kind of tonally confused. I've heard people call these kids movies, but the movies are rated PG-13, and they also touch on some pretty adult themes. I mean, the story involves serial killing and child murder, but also has these random moments of goofy comedy.
Dude, that costume is legendary. I don't know. Seems kind of fake to me.
I want is to see what's going on inside of your head.
Black, 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 black.
They continue to have my guy Josh Hutcherson play the most unlikable main character ever, Mike, who once again just spends the whole movie annoyed and being a terrible guardian to his little sister, who has a bad habit of sneaking out and going to hang out with some clearly evil animatronics that she knows has killed people before. Look, the scares do nothing for me, the humor doesn't move me, the lore still seems kinda lame and nonsensical to me. Like the marionette, who's the villain of this movie. She wants to kill all parents because no parents helped her when she was trying to save this other kid from being killed by Shaggy. But even that doesn't do anything for me because I just assumed the scene was a dream from how weird the parents were acting.
Excuse me, there's a boy who needs help.
Go tell your parents.
Please, there's something wrong.
Go tell your parents.
Please, there's somebody who needs help.
Not right now.
Please.
Not right now.
Will anybody help me?
There's no need to argue. Parents just don't understand.
But I digress. Frankly, the biggest crime is that they found a way to make the concept of robots possessed by ghosts lame. I'm not watching part 3, don't ask.
I'm not doing this.
Number 3. Tyler Perry's Straw.
It seems like every time I do a project, the first thing I do after the project comes out is go to Rotten Tomatoes.
But let me just tell you about them tomatoes. I don't fuck with them.
You don't fuck with tomatoes?
I don't give a damn about a rotten or a fresh. None of that means shit to me.
That's amazing. What about critics?
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Tyler Perry has made an appearance in every top 5 best and worst video, and we're keeping the tradition alive with this one. Can we please cast Taraji P. Henson in other movies again so we can save her from being in these? For the uninitiated, Straw is about a woman who is just really going through it. Can't afford rent, job pays pennies, daughter keeps building bombs.
What?
Until one day she has the worst possible day you could ever have within the span of like 40 minutes and just snaps and somehow accidentally winds up robbing a bank by mistake. Taraji's performance is probably the only thing that kept this from being higher on the list because she's genuinely really good and pretty much the only person in this movie that feels like an actual person.
Family let me just talk to her, please. You don't understand. She has seizures. Okay, she needs her medicine. She doesn't like to be without me. Listen to me.
I want to go with my mama.
No. We can't upset her. 2 jobs to make sure we have what we can to eat, okay? She can't even eat everything. You know this. I give her exactly what the doctor tells me to give her.
The teacher also says she's usually not very clean.
Oh my God, that's a lie. That's a lie.
According to this movie, Atlanta is filled with nothing but assholes.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You can't buy some of these items with a WIC card. Bitch, I do this all the time. I'm gonna need $38.28.
$38? Fuck you. Give me my card. Come on.
The problem is Tyler Perry made Taraji's day so bad that it becomes hilarious.
You brought that shit on your damn self. Your ass is fired.
I have my check.
Oh, you want your check? You know, when you get fired, check is in the mail. Nah, that's company policy.
I can't wait for the check in the mail. I have to pay my rent and I have to get this money to my daughter so she can eat lunch.
Well, what you want me to do about it, huh? You're so damn evil!
I mean, if in only one day I got evicted, fired, my car impounded, child taken away, and become part of a robbery, I would assume that God just must have some personal beef with me. Frankly, I can't even blame her character for crashing out. Do not give me your hardest battles. I am not your strongest soldier.
You are cast.
Oh my god, and don't even get me started on this twist ending y'all been gassing up. That shit didn't do anything but annoy me. While it was admittedly well set up, to me it still felt like you basically took everything that happened in the movie and made it not matter in an instant because her entire motivation was made null and void. And honestly, I'm getting pretty tired of Tyler Perry constantly putting black women through the ringer in every movie. Our folks need more movies than just this.
I don't give a fuck.
Number 2. War of the Worlds. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one because I already made a whole video about it, but I don't think anyone is shocked this one is on the list.
Take your intergalactic asses back home! Back home!
This actually became one of my favorite bad movies of all time. I watched this shit 4 times, bro. I don't think I've ever seen Ice Cube's face this many times in any singular calendar year. You'd think if Amazon was gonna make a feature-length Amazon commercial, they'd want it to actually be good. I know the timing doesn't match up, but the script feels AI generated.
Will, what are the high-priority, most vulnerable sites?
Mr. President, gentlemen, we're seeing a full attack on our infrastructure, on power grids, water, communication, and top-level military targets.
Good, got it, great, good.
Anyway, I used my best jokes in the full review, so go check that one out too. And what is it with Hollywood and making rappers hackers? Now for some dishonorable mentions. Four Nights in Fear Forest. This was a super low budget ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's about a bunch of adults who are doing community service by working at a haunted park in a forest with animatronics. I don't usually use visuals for the dishonorables, but I don't think words alone properly show how bad this is. Honestly, I almost put it on the list, but admittedly I had a blast watching this. The Strangers Chapter 2. Hour and a half of some hide and seek. Next, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Last year they were really trying to push this idea that I Know What You Did Last Summer was this beloved horror franchise, like the parody isn't 10 times more liked. Pros? They tried to do something kind of different with the twist. Cons? I hated the twist. Him. More than anything, this movie was very, very disappointing. The film looks amazing and Marlon Wayans in this role is a career high. Story, however, is damn near non-existent. Tyler Perry's Duplicity. It's a Tyler Perry movie about police brutality. What more needs to be said? Flight Plan.
Y'all need a pilot?
I saw that ball cap they put on Mark Wahlberg and I knew what I was in for. And it didn't disappoint. Playdate. I think at some point we gotta have a talk about Prime Video movies. Number 1. A Minecraft movie. I think I'm Unk. I took my little bro to go see this film, you know, trying to be a good sibling and shit. And when we sat down to watch this, I was hit with a sudden wave of nostalgia. In my mind, I saw my dad sitting next to me in a theater, looking bored out of his mind while I was watching, I don't know, Recess School's Out or some shit. And in that moment, I felt what he felt all those years ago, like a wave of disdain traveled across generations. Yeah, I didn't like this movie. Video game movies and shows have really begun to blow up lately. They've been around for a while now, but an increasing number are beginning to come out at relatively close enough intervals that you could definitely call it a thing. A lot of them are even really good. Fallout, The Last of Us, the Sonic movies.
Ah! What the fuck?
The Super Mario Brothers movie. There are even more coming out in the near future. A Death Stranding movie. The Legend of Zelda, sequels to both Sonic and Mario. So with every film trend, you're inevitably gonna get some bullshit mixed up in there. And that's what this is. Some bullshit. Not great that a video game movie is starting and ending this list. This was the only movie in 2025 to cause me physical pain. I started getting a migraine around the time they were explaining how crafting tables work, and the pain increased every 15 minutes. You know, I thought I really enjoyed Jack Black doing his, you know, his Jack Black thing, but between this and Dear Santa last year, I think a discussion might be needed.
They want me to fight the chicken? Chicken jockey! I am Steve.
I am Steve.
This is a crafting table. Chicken jockey! Guy! Village!
They're the villagers, Brett. Just an iron golem.
Chicken jockey!
Elytra wingsuits.
A llama bucket! I'm gonna cushion on fall with this water bucket!
Wither Madonnans.
Netherwort. The mine Chicken jockey!
I know the fans love it, and that's okay. But I don't know. Don't you guys want better than the same old kids Don't you guys want more than the same old kids get transported to a different world and then mischief ensues? The Sonic movies turned out pretty good. The Super Mario movie did a good job of balancing fan service and telling an entertaining story. Y'all don't want better?
Chicken jockey!
whatever, man. Let's just start the best list before I give up. Okay, now for the top 5 best movies of 2025. Number 5. Weapons. Movies like these are why I love horror so much, man. Zach Cregger of Barbarian fame gave us this at times darkly funny, and at other times kind of moving but still chilling horror movie about a classroom of children in a small town who all wake up in the middle of the night and run from their homes to never be seen again. This was really one of those films where simply explaining the premise immediately attracts you to the mystery of this film. Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, even Benedict Wong for the short amount of time he's on screen all put in extremely memorable performances. Gardner in particular does a fantastic job portraying a teacher who's been wrongfully blamed for the disappearance of her class. But who really impressed me was the young actor Carrie Christopher, who plays the one student in class who didn't go missing. I'm telling you, watching this movie, you'd think this kid has the entire world on his shoulders with the way he portrays trauma and fear of the situation he's found himself in. I think he's gonna be one to watch. I don't want to say too much about another performance in this film because it's kind of a spoiler, and I really want those of you who haven't seen it to go into it with as little information as possible. But for those of you who do know what's up, there's a certain character who instantly became a horror movie icon. Definitely more than that industry playing ass Art the Clown. Get that shit out of here. Anyway, I have nothing but good things to say about this film. Please watch it if you haven't already. Number 4. Marty Supreme. Timothy Chalamet, I owe you an apology. I was unfamiliar with your game. There's something just fascinating to me about watching a horrible character becoming so locked in, they wind up ruining their life and the lives of everyone around them. Just terrible decision after terrible decision with no end in sight. What isn't entertaining about that? The film centers on Marty Mauser, a complete kid who truly only cares about one thing and one thing only.
Ping pong. Well, I play table tennis. Yeah, I'm here competing in the British Open.
King table tennis. Now, he's willing to do just about anything to get enough money to be able to travel to Japan in order to compete in the World Championships to avenge a loss the previous year, and somehow along the way he comes across baby mamas, a famous actress, a mobster with an adorable dog, and Tyler the Creator.
Yo, I'm a fucking homosexual. What?
I don't know what makes the Safdies so good at taking you along the journey of terrible protagonists and making you want to see what the hell happens to them next while feeling anxious the entire time. But clearly, this is their bag, given we now have the Shipbird trilogy including Good Time and Uncut Gems. Now, in the past, I really haven't been into S. the Kid as an actor much, and I really didn't like Wonka.
Noodle-dee-dee, noodle-dee-dum. We're having oodles and oodles of fun.
But this role really feels like his breakout moment, even more so than Lasan Al Gaib. Odessa Azon, who I thought was amazing in the surprisingly solid Hellraiser reboot, also puts on a powerhouse performance as Rachel, Marty's situationship slash baby mama, who at times is almost as unhinged as he is. Tyler the Creator is in there too, and he's fine. He's basically Tyler the Creator except in the 50s. I wouldn't mind him showing up more in other movies if he wants to give the acting thing a try. It really takes a lot of talent to make an utterly reprehensible character engaging enough to make a viewing audience follow them for 2+ hours. But Timmy Tim really had the sauce here. This is gonna be in the rewatch bucket for me for many years to come. Number 3. Superman. The gun did not jam, baby! I kinda had to talk myself down from just saying fuck it and making this the #1 movie of the year, but there were at least 2 movies I thought were a little better. Regardless, this has become one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't care, man. Superman is my guy, and David Cornsweet personifies him perfectly. He and Gunn both really seem to understand what makes him tick as a character. Yes, he's the most powerful being in the world, but at his core, he's a kid from Kansas who just wants to help people and small animals. I touched on it a little before, but I swear it's like they grew David Cornsweet in a lab to one day play Clark Kent.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human.
She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
We've had amazing Clarks before, but of course, he might be my personal favorite. I had to say that shit like 3 times. Why is Clark Kent so hard to say? He's just got that likable aura about him that Superman requires. Like a favorite elementary school teacher. I also really like that this in no way felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Don't misunderstand. Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite MCU franchise, but those movies have a very different vibe than I believe a Superman movie should. And Gunn, in my opinion, did a very good job mixing the vibe that a Superman movie should have with his very unique and comedic writing. At a time where cynicism and hate is rising in not just the United States, but also the world, it feels kind of good to have a movie where the message is kindness can also be an act of rebellion. Again, I don't want to say too much here because I do have a longer video on this movie planned in the near future, and a shorter one on the channel, already uploaded, go watch that. So I'll end this by saying this was my most anticipated film of 2025, and I'm ecstatic that it lived up to my expectations. Hope Corps is back, baby! Number 2. One Battle After Another. Full disclosure, this is my first Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I know, insane thing to say, as he's actually a pretty prolific filmmaker. But for whatever reason, I just never actually sat down and watched his films. There Will Be Blood has been on my watch list for years, man. When I walked out of the theater after watching this movie, I immediately wanted to watch everything this dude has ever made. I could feel myself vibrating as I walked out of the theater. This movie is 2 hours and 42 minutes, and I almost wish it was longer. The best way I could describe it is as a leftist, darkly comedic epic that really focuses on family and how even fighting for the right cause can come with consequences, but that doesn't mean you stop fighting. Leonardo DiCaprio takes lead here as Bob, a former radical activist, or domestic terrorist if you're the US government, who is in hiding with his daughter, but gets found out by this walking, talking snarl named Stephen Lockjaw, which gotta be on the list of top 10 villain names ever.
You like black girls? I love them. I love them.
A big chunk of the movie is Bob and his daughter Willa being separated and then both of them trying to outrun the law, especially as we begin to discover that Lockjaw's motivations for chasing them down may be more personal than we realize. This is one of those movies where it's really difficult to pick out a favorite performance because every single actor is at a 10 at all times, even if they aren't on screen for very long. Tiana Taylor, for instance, really stood out to me as Perfidia Beverly Hills with a performance that in a lot of ways was so subtle. I think a lot of people missed that she was suffering from postpartum depression, and she's only in the film in the first 30 minutes. Also, Perfidia Beverly Hills is like the greatest name of all time as well. I mean, come on. Now, I don't think it's possible to properly talk about this movie without at least touching on its very obvious political leanings. Yes, this film is mainly about a father connecting with his daughter and trying to find her. But Bob and the group he's a part of, the French 75, are firmly established as a radical far-left group, and the villains are explicitly shown to be straight-up white supremacists. So there really isn't too much room for an apolitical reading of this film. In fact, that aspect of the film has been pretty controversial online on both YouTube and film Twitter. My take? I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson's writing in that aspect was perfect, but it worked for the story he was trying to tell. And I don't want to make this video longer than it already is. And also, I'm planning a solo video for One Battle, so I don't want to be more detailed here yet. But I will say, Lockjaw and the Christmas Adventurers were a very good satirical take on lame-ass white supremacists. Sean Penn in particular did such a good job with the utterly repulsive performance of Lockjaw that, honestly, he might need an award for this. He somehow found a way to make every single aspect of this character utterly repulsive. His haircut, his face, the way he walks, practically everything he says.
I'm not gay, if that's what you're saying.
I didn't say that.
I'm not a homosexual.
It's very telling of the cinematography that it's months later and I'm still thinking about the hilly road scene. This shit was so good, PTA made a simple chase scene with 2 cars on an empty road both thrilling and anxiety-inducing. Just a masterclass of filmmaking, can't say enough good things about it.
I love them.
Now, before we get to my number 1 movie of 2025, some honorable mentions. The Long Walk. This was very, very close to getting onto the list before Marty Supreme dropped. It's an adaptation of one of Stephen King's earliest books, and it's also strangely a very timely story. It has genuinely one of the healthiest depictions of male friendship I've seen in a minute. Highly recommended. The Running Man. Yeah, I really don't get why people didn't care for this one, but I really liked it. Solid action, Glenn Powell was a solid lead, funny when it needed to be, serious when it needed to be. My only real ding against it was the lack of chemistry I felt between Glenn Powell and Jamie Lawson. But even then, Colman Domingo as a game show host more than makes up for that. Wicked for good. Yeah, I like musicals. What about it?
Big whoop, wanna fight about it?
Begonia. Possibly the weirdest viewing experience I had in 2025. I kind of forgot Emma Stone really killing it out here. Frankenstein. Just give Benicio del Toro every tragic monster story ever written, man. No one else is doing it like him. One of Them Days. Easily the funniest movie I watched in 2025, SZA and Keke Palmer's chemistry felt effortless. I really believe this is a modern classic of black comedy. in a world where comedy doesn't get a lot of representation in theaters these days. Fantastic Four, First Steps. Man, I deadass had to wait a few decades to finally get a great Fantastic Four movie. That's crazy, man. If Superman is hope core cinema, this was definitely family core cinema. Plus, we got an actual Galactus in the movie, not any of that cloud bullshit. That's nuts. Novocaine. Kinda surprised this wasn't a bigger hit. It is an action comedy starring a character that can't feel any pain, and it stars one of the internet's favorite Peter Parker types, Jack Quaid. If you haven't seen it and action is your thing, definitely check it out. Highest to lowest. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a controversial mention, but I don't care, man. I really enjoyed it. A remake of the Kurosawa classic High and Low from legendary filmmaker Spike Lee about a wealthy music executive who, due to a mix-up, has to make a decision on whether or not to pay a ransom for the son of his much less wealthy best friend. Yeah, I know a lot of you probably didn't care for it, but it really worked for me. I thought Denzel was great, A$AP Rocky kind of took me by surprise, music was solid, although I did feel the score was a bit too noticeable and loud in certain scenes, but overall, a great film. Find you someone who loves you as much as Spike Lee loves New York. Number 1. Like you don't already know. Sinners. What else would it possibly be? This is genuinely one of my favorite movies of all time, and what has solidified Ryan Coogler as one of my favorite directors ever. The style was slick, the music was amazing, the acting was phenomenal. The story and how it seamlessly blended horror with the history of black music in this country and how those outside of the culture have used it for their own purposes. And the sequence that visually shows the history of black music, one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Bro, I had to keep myself from standing up and applauding. Yeah, I'm glazing the hell out of this film, but guess what? It deserves it. The same way Scorsese and De Niro are a perfect filmmaking duo, we gotta start saying the same for Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, who put on an amazing double performance as Smoke and Stack. This is another movie I plan to make a longer video about, so I won't say all my thoughts on it here, but if somehow you haven't seen it, I heavily encourage you to do so. I truly believe a film like this is once in a lifetime. Man, I can't believe I finally put this damn video out. It's felt like an albatross around my neck for months. Obviously very behind schedule with this one, but with life happening and a heavy dose of apathy over the state of the world, I got a bit distracted with this video and even thoughts about the future of this channel, actually. But we're back, and I really want to get back to posting more often. I love film, and I love talking about film, good and bad, and I think it helps to have at least a little light when everything around is so dark. Someone once said to me that joy is also a form of resistance, and that really stuck with me, you know? I would love to hear what you guys think were the best and worst movies of 2025. Comment below. Maybe you think Caught Stealing was better than Mario Supreme, or maybe you think Man of Steel is a way better Superman movie than Superman. No, that's just silly. So, Words from Blerds is back, and hopefully better than ever.